So let's see if it does it correct. Let's see. No, thank you. I don't want to stream with anybody. Are we live? Are we live? I had made a little bit of a boo-boo earlier. Here we go. Welcome back. We are live. We're going to be talking about chaos in the crypto industry when it comes to the XRP ETF launch because it is happening this week. However, this particular XRP ETF is a spot, but it isn't a spot, but it is. It's kind of weird. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about what Jpmorgan is saying, what's happening with the current state of the market, primarily because it does impact our crypto bags. And we're here to make as much money as ethically and legally as possible so we can improve the life of ourselves, our family, and our communities. Community love is very, 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 very important. I do a lot of donating. I do the best that I can to show up and whatnot for my community. And I love it. So let's go ahead and get into it. And I'm going to talk about some things in a little bit. So stick with me on that. First and foremost, we got a poll at the top on YouTube. Are you feeling okay today? 76% say yes, 24% say no. So I'm sending you guys love and light, healing to everybody. Now, I want to give a shout out to our channel members, to Mr. John, to Mr. R, Gorgeous Alexandra, Mr. D. I am a secretary of a secretary, allegedly. We'll see if she the voting for secretary at school is tomorrow, Friday, so we'll have the results by then. And also to Mr. R and to Sparkwater. Juan Hernandez said wants a fit check. We'll see about that fit check in a little bit. But let's go ahead and get into the crypto stuff because the XRP spot ETFs is coming. However, it's not. Let's get into it. And I was talking to Mr. James today. So Rex Osby crypto ETFs to launch Friday, barring SEC objection, Bloomberg analyst. Rex and Osby cleared the SEC's 75-day window with multiple crypto ETFs poised to debut, even as regulators push back on the decision's rival Ether, Solana, and XRP products. So basically what they're doing is the ETFs include XRP, Bitcoin, Doge, Trump, and Bonk. And these are from the 1940 Act ETFs. And they're using a few regulatory and legal workarounds to get these products to fit into the 1940 Act. So these are different than the crypto spot ETFs that we're used to. They're using a workaround. They're not issuing these through the 1930s Act. They're issuing this through the 40s Act. And I actually reached out to James because he's Mr. James S. Because he covers this stuff all the time, and he's going to be doing. I told him, I was like, "Can you do like a clarity update post?" So he's going to be doing that. So yes, we are getting XRP spot ETFs approved in the United States of America, but they are not the typical XRP spot ETFs that we're waiting for like 90 plus. So that's kind of what's happening right now. So we're getting them, but we're not. If that makes sense. I know it's kind of weird, right? Is what it is. Now, while we're talking about this, we can go into what's going on with the current state of the market. And I know you guys are all waiting from a take from me, and I'll get into that. But let's go ahead and talk about the market, and then we'll get into that. So, Jpmorgan says SP 500 redirection of strategy is a blow to crypto treasuries. So this is a hot take. This is Jpmorgan. This is Jpmorgan. Jpmorgan, again, strategy did not make it to the S&P 500. They didn't get entered in, and the S&P 500 is pretty strict on what they let in and what they don't. Anyone can get listed on NASDAQ to an extent. So the S&P committee recent decision was to reject strategy's inclusion despite its technically meeting criteria, signals caution towards companies that function as Bitcoin funds. This is from Jpmorgan. Okay. And you have to understand, Jpmorgan is going to come out and talk out the side of their neck, primarily because they went on and they slandered Bitcoin and crypto for so long. So it makes sense. If I were you, I would stake on an American company. I would stake on an American company to be more safe, but not your keys, not your coins. And you can do DeFi as well. So make sure you really, 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 really understand what the implications are. Okay. If you're an American, use an American-based company. Now, back to this over here. So Jpmorgan analysts called the rejection a blow to crypto treasuries. You could say that, or you couldn't say that. So what's happening here? When we have traditional financial analysts come out and the side of their neck about all these things, I always like to rewind and hear and see what their stance was 5 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was, before Bitcoin and crypto was truly accepted. Now, Jpmorgan and what's the guy's name? What's the guy's name from Jamie Dimon, they've always been very, very big critics of Bitcoin and crypto, primarily because Bitcoin and crypto impacts their bottom line, their business. So that's why you'll see people from traditional finance take quite some time to flip their stance, is they want to make sure their bags are packed before they start talking publicly. And again, this is a common play that happens everywhere. Like, most people will not talk about an investment until they're ready to rock and it's going to benefit them. So that makes sense on Jpmorgan's side. So just because strategy was not listened to the accepted to the S&P 500 doesn't mean that it's bad. Thank you so much, Lawrence, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm doing okay. I'll talk about the stuff in a little bit. In a little bit, I want to get through some of this stuff, and then I'll talk about my opinion with that soon. I did a post on Instagram and Tiki Taki about it, and if you guys follow me on X, you've seen everything that I have been saying and my feelings on different stuff. But we'll get into it. So there's that. So of course, Jpmorgan is going to say something negative. Good for them. Great, fine, fantastic. Doesn't really matter though. One thing I will say is that stocks and the way that the stock market works in traditional finance, it's basically legalized Ponzi's. That's what it is. And people just use it as a vehicle to make money. Good for them. Happy for them. Great, fine, fantastic. But again, strategy might not have made it into the S&P 500 because there's, I understand they met all the criteria, but again, their business model is extremely risky. It really, really is. Is it a bad thing, a negative thing? No, it's not. It is what it is. Now, next story with Jpmorgan. Stocks at risk of sell the news drop on Fed interest rate cut, Jpmorgan traders say. So again, more FUD from Jpmorgan. Jpmorgan trading desk words an upcoming Fed cut on September 17th can trigger sell the news reaction despite strong market momentum. They describe the market as feeling unstable, but see risks as accumulating beneath the surface. The desk maintains a low conviction tactical bullish stance, highlighting risks from inflation, employment data, and on-courting trade drama. September brings seasonal headwinds. These include a retail pullback, corporate buyback pause, and funds rebalancing portfolios. Corporate buybacks is when a company buys back some of their share to remove their stocks, whatever, to remove some from the market, basically doing economics 101. If you have less supply, there's more demand. Even though all they're doing is just holding on to it and removing from the market, which is stupid to me. I mean, I get it because you're manipulating the market, but at the same time, finite assets are better than that. Maybe they issued too much because they got greedy. They also recommend increasing gold positions as rate cuts weaken the USD. So let's talk a little bit about this, what's happening. So basically, Jpmorgan is saying, hey, we're bearish. We're bearish. Cool, fine, great, fine, fantastic, you're bearish. Lowering of interest rates is going to be good short term because Americans are going to be able to possibly get into houses, pay off their credit card debts, pay off their cars, refinance, do all those things. And yes, Jpmorgan does only care about themselves. But realistically, at the end of the day, we do need to lower interest rates because they're too high, because wages aren't increasing to absorb the extra cost, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, we're in a massive mess. And this massive mess was created from, I don't even know when. It's been here for a long time, probably started since the 60s. John Legend is funny. Probably since the 60s. And again, this doesn't just happen overnight. And it's not just this administration or last administration or administration before that. It's been happening. So moral of the story is, just as long as crypto pumps long term and we get that altcoin season, I'm happy. That's what I care about because I'm here to make money. I don't know about you guys. Now, let's get into the next story with Jpmorgan over here, okay? U.S. CPI rose faster than expected, 0.4% in August, core rate in line. I don't think this is a Jpmorgan story, is it? No. Okay, so basically this article is talking about CPI. It's up. Core CPI, which again, core CPI, which is supposed to be the most important part, excluding food and energy, rose 0.3% in August. Core CPI up 3.1% year over year. So what does this mean over here? This basically means that the markets are about to get manipulated and they are going to mess around with interest rates. They have to. There's no choice. No choice. So overall, again, my thesis as to what I think is going to happen, again, I could be wrong, I'm just an idiot on the internet, is going to be that we get the lowering of interest rates, crypto pumps, crypto spot ETFs get approved, and everybody makes money, those of you who are able to take profit. Again, I'm not going to be selling my Bitcoin. I'm planning on selling most of my Ethereum, about 90%, and I'm going to be exiting out of most other altcoins I have and essentially kind of rebalancing. Why am I doing that? Because I want to be able to rebalance my portfolio, and the purpose of that is that A lot of the coins I hold are coins from last cycle and cycles before that. And I want to make sure that I've updated my portfolio during the bear market. And I could be wrong, but at the same time, I'm here to make money. And no one ever went broke taking profit. So there's that. All right, next on the docket, before we get into the price action, I want to talk about some of the SEC delays that we're seeing. All right, so unfortunately we got the delay on the HBAR ETF. I want to say it's November 12th now, but SEC delays decisions on staking for Ethereum ETFs along with Solana and other funds. Solana and XRP based funds proposed by Franklin Templeton also met with delays. And then this one over here. Hold on. Did I miss something? The Doge ETF delayed as well. That was supposed to go live tomorrow. Oh, wait, no, it was supposed to go live today. And this is from Eric B. He's an ETF analyst. He went ahead and he said DOGE is now scheduled to begin trading Friday, not today. So basically this is, the meme coin with no utility. But the reason why they're applying to make this an ETF is because there's people that want to invest in it. I don't do DMs, honey. Thank you though. I don't do DMs because it gets rowdy in there. So a lot of the ETFs, they've been delayed until November, which is still Q4 2025. And my thesis on that is the SEC wants to make sure when they approve them that they've done things the correct way, because they don't want to have to go back in time and do all that stuff. Yeah, and if you want to email me, that's totally fine, but I just don't get in DMs because it could get a little bit messy, and I don't do that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto markets and see what's happening there. As always, you guys, if you want to trade with me on Kraken, they are wonderful. I use them personally. We've got the QR code up there, the ref link down below, and they've got a customer service line. Great for spot trading. What's happening in the current market? Again, MYX is one of those DeFi perp platforms. They're down. Form is down. World is down. IP is down. The market's kind of random today. Also, too, if you want to be a degenerate with me, you can see I've got a FEMX ref link down below, and you guys can go ahead and use that. Not your keys, not your coins. Overall, though, let's take a look at the stock market. Take a look at the stock market and see. I know I'm kind of low energy today. It's been like a drama week. Stock market is at all-time high. That's what it's looking like. Great, fine, fantastic. Bitcoin is up as well. We're making some really nice progress with Bitcoin. We got that weekly close over $111,000, currently about 114. So this all looks absolutely wonderful. Following Bitcoin's upward price actions is going to be Ethereum. So Ethereum is getting ready to retest about $4,500. You guys know that I'm happy with Ethereum. I can't wait till we get $10,000 Ethereum. Next, we've got Solana. Solana is also going well. And again, if you remember, Solana generally trades opposite of Ethereum. So it's nice to see Solana making some nice upward moves while Ethereum is up as well. Small gains, but hey, we take what we can get. XRP is up. We're retesting. We weren't able to flip above the trend line yesterday, but now we're retesting it again. Hopefully we flip above it and we trade above it. And we sustain 308. And what else we got? 324. And then 332. We continue our upward climb. 10,000 Ethereum. Heck yeah. I can't wait. I'm excited. Chainlink is doing okay. Not super great, but it's moving. ADA is at a standstill over here, and we actually might retest 85 cents. We'll kind of see what's going on over there. HBAR is doing gorgeous and actually closed really, really nicely at 23 cents. So we're in this big consolidation range between 22 and 25 cents. So that's good. We love to see it. We talked about the delays of the ETFs. Let's talk about this. 21 Shares further expands its European product line with the launch of 21 Shares dydx ETP ticker. Congratulations for them. Vaneck plans to file for hyperliquid staking ETF, and this is a European ETP. Not a whole lot of stuff going on in the market. And yes, today is 9/11. I remember exactly where I was when that happened. And I remember how upset my mother was, because you have to understand, she's very, very Brooklyn based. Very, very, very Brooklyn based. We have a plethora of family out there. And that's where both sides of my family came when they came to the US. From my dad's side and my mom's side, they were in Brooklyn. They were in the Benson Horst area. came through, well, on my mom's side, they came through Ellis Island. My dad's side, I don't know how they got here because they were Eastern European for the most part. And we won't talk about that today. But anyways, yeah, today is it's a weird energy day. Well, let's get back into the news, and then I'm going to give my hot take and then sign off. Sharplink treasury push will be white swan event for Ethereum adoption, says CEO. So Joseph I can't say that. Is it Shalom or Column? I don't know. Sharplink Gaming told Decrypt that his company is educating traditional finance players about Ethereum. Of course he is. The reason why he's doing so is because he wants to pump his bag. So I don't blame him. I don't blame him any way, shape, or form. He says that the white swan event accelerates Ethereum adoption by institutional players. So basically, they're just trying to everybody's trying to pump their bags. That's what happens. He argues that growing treasury trend won't be a disaster like the FTX collapse because public companies like Sharplink are highly transparent and regulated. He sees Ethereum adoption as akin to early internet and expands its impact on the financial ecosystem to be significantly larger than Bitcoin in the long term. So I hear his talking points here. They're very poor talking points, that traditional finance is regulated and it's safe. I've got news for you. You guys remember the 2008 crash? You guys remember that? Housing market crash? Those are all traditional financial companies. Those are all regulated. They were all licensed. So it doesn't matter if something is licensed and regulated. Oh, shout out to Sal Bensonhurst here. I'd love to see it. Yeah, my family was there. Grandma and great aunt, they lived on Mulberry, and then they moved over to Bensonhurst in the neighborhood. And my grandpa, he used to make everyone call him Big Nick. And they did. Didn't matter where they were. That's what he did. I've got very interesting family history. I love all my family out there. But yeah, Bensonhurst, baby. I never lived there. I visited, but you know. Anyways, but back to these TradFi guys. Comparing what's going on with the DATs, digital asset treasury companies, and all of that to FTX, saying they're wonderful, they're safe. That's not true. Nothing is safe. Any investment is not safe. It's an investment. There's risk associated. The Lehman Brothers collapse. Look at all, like we've had banking collapses. So yeah, the digital asset treasuries, those could be deemed a little bit more safe than FTX because we didn't really have regulations there. And the people in America that were in charge of issuing laws and regulations and guidelines and whatnot, they simply didn't do their job. Schumer and Waters and Gensler. Half on my mom's side, and a little bit of Greek and a little bit of Albanian, just a teeny tiny bit. But moral of the story is nothing is safe. So the digital asset treasuries, are they safe? They could be safer than FTX, but at the end of the day, they're not 100% safe. Nothing is. So just as long as you understand that. However, keep pumping my bags. Again, I'm happy. I am happy. Now, this one is from Mr. Chuolos over here. So he talks about his, I want to play this clip because I appreciate it. And I want you guys to hear it too.
All the time, we bet wrong on the smart contract model with Cardano. I think in the long term we'll be vindicated, but the composability, developer accessibility, and a litany of other things, it was very difficult for people to build Cardano smart contracts. And so we lost momentum. We were doing so well in 2021. I remember September of 2021, we were number 3 on CoinMarketCap. And everybody was super excited for the smart contract wave of Cardano. And while we've never had a major hack or bug, and there's now amazing dev tools and all these cool things, because it was so inflexible and hostile, we lost that wave of momentum and Solana got it. So that's a phenomenal example of where we've been.
I appreciate his take here. Basically, he's saying they decided to place resources on something else, and then Solana was able to swoop in and take over that market share. And the reason why, number one, I appreciate it is because a good entrepreneur and a good leader and a good businessman and just somebody who has all of those qualities, they are able to admit, hey, I made a mistake. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing any way, shape, or form. Being able to admit, hey, we should have done this looking back is not bad. All that it does is it builds on top of your foundation, your existing foundation you already have, or if you're starting a new one, and you're able to pivot easier, and you're able maybe to spot trends easier. Maybe, hey, I should do this or I should do that. And you're willing to change your directive. And that's good. Learning experiences are absolutely wonderful. And this is why I love capitalism. I'm not talking about corporate capitalism. I'm talking about lower level capitalism. And because capitalism is part of entrepreneurism. When you're able, a good entrepreneur will pivot and will be able to admit when they're wrong. And also too, when we're talking about capitalism, we're talking about different companies coming in to essentially try to improve an existing business model. And that's exactly what Cardano was trying to do with Ethereum. Solana was trying to do with Ethereum. Hedera is trying to do all these different layer ones. And this is why I love crypto, because crypto is a newer industry focusing on innovation, and they're trying to improve the quality of life with different solutions. And that's good. That's good. We love to see it. So I really appreciate Charles like, hey, you know what? We made a little bit of a mistake here, but we're focused and this is what we're going to do. And that just goes to show that number one is very transparent. Number two, it gives me more hope for the future. So fundamentally, that's bullish for me on ADA. I like ADA. I hold ADA. I'm feeling okay. I'm just me. I'm just here. I'm showing up every day. Now let's talk a little bit about Solana season. So Solana season, and this is an article from the from the Bitwise people. We like Bitwise. Basically, all the ingredients are here for an epic end of year run on Solana. They say, all the ingredients are here for epic year run on Solana. He referenced the same formula that drove recent rallies in Bitcoin and Ethereum. The formula is ETP inflows and treasury accumulations, strong returns. What does that mean? Well, basically, remember how I told you guys to focus on crypto treasuries, and I told you guys to focus on ETFs? Those are things you want to pay attention to. They're literally telling you over Bitwise, traditional finance is literally telling you, hey, this is what we're focusing on. This is what we're putting money into. They're already telling you. So they're focusing on Solana. They're focusing on digital asset treasuries. They're focusing on ETFs. He emphasized that Solana now fits this pattern with both pending ETF filings and large-scale treasury commitments in place. According to Hugh Han, I can't pronounce anything. Since Solana's market cap is much smaller than Bitcoin or Ethereum, even modest inflows could significantly impact price, which again, the ETF analysts have called for about $8 billion flowing in for each ETF in America, spot ETF. And I think we have like 92 each. So again, it's a lot of money flowing in. When you get more money flowing in, it means more liquidity flowing in, and you get a larger market cap and price number goes up. That's why it's so important we continue to talk about the Solana ETFs and HBAR ETFs and XRP and all of that stuff. And yeah, we're getting an XRP ETF coming soon, but it's not a traditional ETF because it's under the 1940s Act, not the 1930s Act. So a little bit different. It's like a loophole. He cautioned, though, that ETFs and treasury buys don't guarantee success, but said the setup is attractive given Solana's fundamentals and positioning. And that's something that I've kind of regurgitated on this channel many, 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 many times. Why? Well, because I think that when you have, first off, I don't trust traditional finance, but I do like to follow what they do. And the reason why I like to follow what they're going to do is because they've got a lot of money on the line. You think these guys want to lose money? No, because they own the market. So hear what they say, but listen to yourself. Take what resonates you and leave the rest. The ADA ETF might get postponed until November because a lot of these ETFs are getting delayed, which is not bad. So moral of the story here is I like to pay, if you're somebody, especially that's brand new to crypto, if you want to do meme coins, that's you. If you want to do the tier 3 stuff that's a little bit more risky, do you. But I think most people will perform best with Bitcoin. And then like some of the top 100, top 20 stuff, things that will become ETFs or things that are being made treasuries. But again, do what works for you. Do what works for you, baby. All right, next on the docket today. Forward Industries closes $1.56 billion private placement in cash and stablecoin commitments to advance the Solana treasury. More money, more money, more money. And as Galaxy Digital, Jump, and Multi-Coin Capital led the raise with $300 million combined. Goal is to become the largest publicly traded SOL treasuries. Again, this is a group of people. There's a group of companies. It's not a Michael Saylor of Solana, but they're getting close, and that's good. I love those. Those are wonderful. Love it. Also, Avalanche Foundation eyes $1 billion to set up Avalanche treasury firms in the U.S. This is great. We love to see it. One deal involves $500 million private investment in NASDAQ listed company led by Hiveman Capital and advised by Scaramucci, my paisan. The second deal is 500 million SPAC sponsored by Dragonfly Capital. A SPAC is SPAC is a publicly traded shell company created to raise funds and acquire existing private company, allowing it to go public without the traditional IPO process. Again, loophole. This is why I tell you guys it is so important to grift ethically within the constraints of the law, just like traditional finance. A shell company, hello. All proceeds will be used to buy Avalanche at a discount from the Avalanche Foundation. One company is new and the other is existing, being converted into a treasury firm. You see how the little loopholes they do? Whew. Now, Chainlink. Oh, I don't know what happened to this. I'll just read you guys this thing. I'll read this to you. Oh, also, BNB reached an all-time new high, which I hold BNB, which is great. Really quickly about Chainlink. Well, they might, you know, the thing that might get, I think they're all going to get delayed until October, but we'll see. We'll see. I love some Link too. I hold it. All right. Chainlink partners with UBS to automate tokenized fund operations on chain under Hong Kong government cyber port program. There's that. So let's go ahead and talk about the hard stuff, the ugly side of crypto. So I was playing around on what was this? Was it Dex Tools or something like that? And all these meme coins pop up. And it just it's astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing how decentralized or desensitized people are with stuff. And it's upsetting too. And this comes from my own industry, so I'm going to speak out about it. Crypto is a true decentralized economy, so people are able to transact, to have the opinions they want. We don't really believe in censorship, which is why, and most people, like 99.9% of people, are not able to operate in a true decentralized economy. I'm not, because I have very, very strong feelings about certain things. You guys know that if you watch the show and you follow me, I'm very, very outspoken about, I don't care about the P word and the R word. Those people, so that's why I can't operate in a true decentralized economy as much as I would be able to love to. But that type of behavior in crypto, you'll see that happen, and it's upsetting. It's disgusting. But realistically, at the end of the day, one thing that I like to do is I like that we have the internet. I like that people are able to show their true colors and show their thought process and how they view things and how they view humanity. Because it just tells me the type of people I want to stay away from. Like, for example, when people are like, oh, women with tattoos, blah, 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 don't want to be around you because you're closed-minded. It doesn't matter what a person looks like. It matters what's in here and who they are. But moral of the story is crypto does have very disgusting behavior. But it's not just in crypto, it's outside of that. And yesterday was an extremely sad day. This week was an extremely sad week, seeing the stuff that happened on the train. And in addition, today's just a really, really sad day for America. We are all Americans, if you're an American. And I am always America first. So that's just me. But again, I don't condone the harming of innocents in any way, shape, or form. It's horrible. And I think what's even worse about what's happening is that people don't consider how that impacts other people's families. I grew up without a dad, so I know how hard it was for me to and I wouldn't wish any of that on anyone else, ever. So moral of the story is I just hope that people can become more, that could actually have decency, because there's decency and then there's demonic behavior. Like, decency is like the bar. It's like, it's flat on the floor. Respect is earned. I get that. You don't have to respect somebody. You don't have to like somebody, but most people outside of the P's and the R's deserve basic decency. So that's just my take on that. And if you want to hear more about my thoughts on that, you can see what I got to say on X. That's all. Another thing I'll say is that critical thinking is incredibly important. And for those of us that are parents, especially right now, continue to teach your children critical thinking. Continue to teach them to showcase human decency. Just because they don't agree with somebody doesn't mean they have to be mean to them. And in addition to that, hug your kids. Hug your kids. and do what you can in your local communities, and try to be a good person, really. That's what it boils down to. And having difference of opinion is okay. It's not a bad thing. If anything, it actually helps you become more well-versed. And that's why critical thinking matters so much. But again, moral of the story is don't be, use critical thinking, talk to people, especially talk to people that have a difference of opinion of you. Why wouldn't you want to? That's how we learn. That's how we learn. And learning is really cool because then it expands your mind, and then you're able to showcase compassion to different types of people. You're able to do more good, especially in your local communities. Because the biggest problem we have in America is a lot of people say it's the social issues. I don't think it's social issues. I think it's a wealth gap. And that's why we talk about crypto a lot. In addition to that, I think if more people paid attention to what's happening in their local communities, they showed up for their kids, they donated time, and they just showcase kindness, things would be a lot differently. So, moral of the story is don't be an a-hole. Find your higher power. You don't have to, it doesn't have to, just find a higher power for yourself, realistically. Yeah, I hope not, because I'm very, 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 very happy about the ones we currently have. And one thing about me is I will protect myself, and I will protect my baby, and I will protect other innocents. I have. But anyway, sending everybody love and light. I know there's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of anger, a lot of lashing out. Make sure your kids are safe. Make sure your loved ones are safe. And just be a kind person. That's the best thing you can do right now. But anyway, sending you guys love and light, and I will see you later. I've got a video coming out for you at 2 p.m. I think it's about XRP. I know today's a rough day. Sending you all love and light, and I will be back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. PT, and it's the weekend. Bye-bye. Bye, my babies.